We are going to
Italia. Nice intro.
I've been so excited to share this news with you guys.
As you guys have seen in our last videos, we've been kind of building up this anticipation of us leaving Japan. And in this video, we're going to be explaining who, what, where, when, why, kind of doing the same thing when we first left the States. And it's kind of fun being in this position now. We're several years older with much older kids, a second kid, and this situation feels about the same, but like there are some differences with it.
Yeah, so different, but that was really like our first YouTube video that like took off.
Yeah.
And like it started this whole journey for us, and it just, yeah, it kind of feels full circle for that moment. This is crazy. Freaking crazy, actually. We're moving to Germany.
And it's soon.
If you guys are watching this, you'll have seen the title, so it's no surprise, but we're going back to Europe. This time, though, we're going to be going to Italy.
That has us really gritting from ear to ear because Italy has been one of those destinations that every time we've been there and visited, we've loved almost like every single place that we've like been there.
And in fact, that's the very first country we've explored in Europe. And that was before we moved to Germany. So that was what?
2017?
We went with my sister and a friend, the four of us, to Europe for the first time, and we landed in Venice.
And speaking of Venice, it is so like full circle, like Rissa said, because we likely will be flying into Marco Polo Airport in Venice, which is the first airport in Europe that we ever touched foot in. And we will be living in northern Italy near a small town of Vicenza.
Is it really that small of a town?
It's, I guess, small compared to where we live right now, where there is 400,000 people. It is smaller than that for sure, but I guess it is still fairly sizable with smaller communities around. So I shouldn't say too small.
So who? Us.
Us, hello.
And we need to tell our story. So we are an American family. Tanner, Rissa, Willa, and Noah. And our journey started way back when Tanner and I got married. We went to Belize. That was our first international trip, and we just fell in love with travel. Once we graduated from university, Tanner and I took like
our gap year of
half a year.
6 months, yeah.
And we backpacked Asia. That was just an incredible experience that like literally changed us and the whole future for us.
I would say that was the moment where it really got me on board. I had lived in Central America, Belize being one of those countries, serving a church mission, and I like started to get like excited about traveling. But when I went back to the States and like we got married, I was pretty comfortable and pretty okay with the idea of, you know, just living in the States. But I think once we went and did Asia, I think that's when it really started to hit of like, let's try to do as much travel as possible as we go along. And then opportunities came up, and that's where it took us to our first adventure international.
Now we've lived in Germany. We lived there for almost 3 years, and you guys, we absolutely loved it. So after a couple of years into Germany, we decided we had gained so much and we wanted to explore other parts of the world. And it was very bittersweet saying goodbye to Germany, but that brought us to Japan, where we have just grown so much this year. We've experienced a lot. We've traveled to South Korea, Taiwan, and a lot
of Japan. So overall, we had a really great experience here. And at the same time, there came an opportunity to go back to Europe. And at the first, it was especially difficult for us because we weren't sure if we were going to be having more time here in Japan, and we really wanted to continue to have our experience overseas extended.
In fact, 2 videos ago, we announced that we are leaving Japan, and in that video, you see the raw footage of Tanner talking with his employer, and you guys, that was back in May. So half of our time here in Japan, we've known that we'll likely be moving to Italy. That's been a lot emotionally.
Yeah, it has. But with that being said, we are on those final steps as we are recording this video, and we are about to make our way back to Europe. and it's going to be amazing. We're really looking forward to it.
But it's going to be different than Germany.
Yeah, it's going to be a little less forest around like the specific area that we were in Bavaria. But I think it's going to be very similar in the fact that there's lots of agriculture, and we are going to be in the foothills, or at least fairly close to the foothills of the Dolomites and the Alps. So we're really looking forward to the outdoor adventures coming up.
We also love the location of it. So of course it's not as central as our place in Germany was, but it's much more accessible for us because there's a train station in that town, and we lived in remote rural Germany, and so that's going to be nice for us as we're just a little more connected. Not only that, coming from Japan, we've really developed a love for the ocean, and I'm really excited that we're, an hour, maybe an hour and a half to the coast, and there is a lot of coastline close to us.
Yeah. And of course, because you guys know us, we're going to be traveling quite a bit and making the most of our location, seeing places we haven't been to, and exploring other parts of Europe that we're really looking forward to.
So that kind of segues into like the why. The biggest reason that's pushing us back to Europe is, for one, our experience of how much we loved it, but it's going to extend our time abroad 2 additional years, and that's huge for us.
Initially, when moving to Japan, we were going to be ending our time in 2026, spring of 2026. But with this move over to Europe, we've been able to find out that we will be extending it to spring of 2028 and possibly further. So for us, knowing that there is more of that guarantee, we definitely knew that was something that resonated with us. And we, at this point, we're not ready to go back to the States. And it's kind of hard to imagine what that will be like. And when that time comes, we'll see what even happens, because we've really enjoyed the different experiences that we've had. It's going to be a difficult decision wherever we are in, a few years from now, when we do have to decide, our next place to go to.
Basically, we just keep on extending our time abroad, and our family's not a fan of it, but I guess we're giving them cool opportunities and places to visit. We will miss Asia a lot, I have to say, with that. I wish we had more time in Asia because I do love it, but yeah, we're excited for this new adventure, and ultimately the why is what's taking us there is Tanner's job and his work, so he's going to be doing that, but also our desire to just live abroad, have our kids integrated, be able to meet new people, explore new religions, explore new foods, and the whole thing we just love. Honestly, at this point it's our 3rd country. We love kind of that expat life and hopefully getting as integrated as we can.
Another why is because Italian is very close to another language that I already speak quite proficiently, Spanish. Coming from Japan, where it was much more difficult to learn Japanese, and I gave up quite honestly after a while because I didn't get enough experience with my job working with other Americans and those who speak English. Italian, on the other hand, is something that I am really looking forward to, and we've all begun already learning while we're here, and so it's been really fun, and I think we feel more of, what would you say, a little more encouraging at the success
He's
rate.
Pointing fingers at me. Are you so proud of me so far?
It's really been fun to see her learn and write things down and try to practice, because I know it's going to be quite important for us as we integrate, especially with Willa going into more than just daycare. That's going to be something we're going to talk about probably a little bit as we go along. Starting school, our kids are growing up more than they are.
Stop it.
And it's kind of a fun experience to be able to have all together. That's a little bit of our why. Travel, language, food is without a doubt one of the things we're really excited about as well.
So it's really fun because when we left Germany, we'd always tell our German followers, hopefully you guys watching, we'll be back to Germany. And honestly, we totally saw ourselves coming back to Germany or Europe. That was the goal. And although it's not quite Germany, I feel in a sense, I know we're going to be traveling into Germany and be, and visiting there. We are so excited to keep in touch with our friends, and now we can meet up and, maybe even visit our home area. This is us coming back in a different sort of a way, I guess.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll still make it there. We would love it.
You got to remember, we still have a long...
Yeah. We still have a
lot of life left.
We'll keep on extending. Yeah, who knows what will happen.
I think that's one thing that we can briefly mention as we end out this video is why? Why so much? Is that going to be too much for your kids? Is it too much for you guys? There's no instability there. And I think, or there is instability, there's no stability. And I think it's kind of hard to say that we wouldn't have done things different had we had hindsight. I think we mentioned before, Rissa was like so happy we came here, and I've been so happy we've came here too. But obviously it would be dishonest to not say that there has been a lot more added stress given the goal that we want to reach, right? And I think in the end it's going to be worth it for us, because ultimately it's what we want to have, is more time in Europe. But it has come with a lot. We understand that it's not what everyone else would want to do, but we're here for each other as a family. We're trying to support each other along the way, and we know that like this opportunity that we're going to be giving our girls especially, and for ourselves, is going to be worth it to us, at least for our goals and stuff.
Yeah, our goals look different than so many others, and like that's okay. We've kind of accepted the fact that we do things non-traditionally, and we're just trying to lean into like what our hearts and our souls and what our goals like are saying, and I think we're following it, honestly, and it feels good. And with that, like our girls aren't even in school years yet. Like Willa is so close. It's actually great timing, because she's going to have half a year of integration prior to like school starting, and we're going to try and get them, you know, into Italian daycare so they can get exposed to the language. But it's nice because I feel like the stability that a lot of people talk about, like it doesn't even have to start until like those traditional school years. So I still feel like we're hitting the deadline, if you chose for that to be the deadline, just because we're leaving here earlier than needed. But yeah, it's exciting, and it's so fun to finally like share with you guys, since it's been a long time coming.
Especially since it's been a long time coming. So when is that all happening? Well, as you guys have noticed, this video titled that we're moving to Italy, by the time it's posted, we will likely be there already.
We will have been in Italy.
And we will be getting all adjusted again to the time change and getting all set up again for quite a whirlwind of everything that has to happen when you move to a new country. We're looking forward to getting to that point where we can finally get settled in. So it's happening soon.
Basically, that means the next video is going to be our like first impressions of Italy, maybe our first few days or weeks in Italy. We're going to take you with us. Their journey's starting now.
Overall, we're really looking forward to this opportunity as a family.
And we also know going into this, it's not going to be always rainbows and sunshine. In general, with any big international move, there's a transition period, and you know, there's like a honeymoon phase, and then there's a what did we do phase, and I know we'll face that in Italy. I'm also going in a little concerned about like security and safety, house break-ins, petty theft.
Yeah, I mean,
there's issues.
With everywhere.
Yeah, with everywhere, it has their pros and cons, and we understand it's not just always going to be the rainbows and sunshine. I feel like at this point we know that, but we're just choosing to focus on, you know, the positives, and we're excited to see where this journey takes us.
Be sure to stay tuned for our next video. We are going to be landing in Italy and giving you guys some of our first impressions of our new life.
With that, if you haven't already, be sure to hit the like button and the subscribe button. We would love to have you follow along. We're hoping this video will reach new phases and we can have more friends along for our Italian journey. We'll see you on the next video, guys.